Hi, everyone. You're welcome to yet another edition of We Table It Coffee Chatter. I'm your regular host on this platform. My name is Eno Vwaire, and I'll be talking today on a very interesting topic, and that has to do with ethnic cleansing. Okay, is it a case of religious whatever it comes with religious issues, or are some economic players taking advantage of the situation, the chaos, the problems between ethnicities, communities, to exploit them of their mineral resources. So this is what we'll be talking about today on We Table It. Before I go ahead, I would want to go a little back to what we've been doing on this platform. So here on We Table It, we talk about pressing issues as it concerns us, our social communities, whatever it has to do, whether with politics, whether it has to do with education, whether it has to do with entertainment, any topic, just name it. We are there. Okay. So, what we are trying to achieve on this platform is, we dissect the society, looking at trending issues, and we try to inspire change. With me on this broadcast is one of my co-hosts, Dr. Osaro Aigogo. So he'll be coming in whenever he wants to come in with any contribution to this topic. All right. So I'll still go ahead to tell us about our previous topics on the coffee chatter, like this one we are having now. And we do have general conversations where we have many of us come together, that's including the guest. We have some special guests come in with a topic to discuss. All right. So, yeah, last week we had the doctor on growing your business. All right. With the flower of service. Okay. Approach. So he came in with the financial, the business aspect last week. So this week I'll be discussing with you on this coffee chatter all about ethnic cleansing. Not really all. I'm not going to go too deep. So at this point, I will want to maybe place a disclaimer somewhere to let us know that whatever is said on this platform is just our individual views about it. Whatever we are saying here is not to cause any kind of rancor, any kind of, instigate violence. We are not interested in that. What we want is to see a positive change in our society, and that doesn't involve, fights, whatever it is we are trying to, prevent by delving into these topics. Once again, you're welcome. I'm your host on Table It, and my name is Eno Vwaire. I'm talking to you all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. You're welcome. I want to encourage you as you come on this broadcast to kindly share this broadcast on your pages. It is very important to us that you do so. We are growing, and with us, we want to have a thriving community of people who are ready to impact their communities, their businesses, wherever it is, there is a gap to be filled. Okay, so thank you once again for coming on. You can take this time to follow us on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, I beg your pardon, on TikTok and YouTube. There you'll get the videos of our past conversations. All right, so do not waste time to follow us on this platform so that you are, informed about whatever is going on with us on We Table It. And like I said, I have with me one of my co-hosts, Dr. Osaro Aigogun, with me on this conversation. And we may be having the other beautiful lady from Kenya, Valerie Siganga, joining us. May or may not, but whatever it is, we want to have each of your contributions to this topic. All right, we are discussing today ethnic cleansing. Is it a case of religious extremism or a case of resource exploitation? All right, we want to know what you think about it. first of all, before I go on, I would like to explain what the term ethnic cleansing is, so that we can be able to put this conversation in perspective. As you come in, try to share this post. We are trying as much as possible to get more people to come on board as we this today. All right, you're welcome. Wherever you're joining from Lagos, from Nairobi, from Johannesburg, from Kuala Lumpur, from wherever, you're welcome. Kindly share this post. It's very, very important you do that for us now. All right. Okay, so what are we talking about? I just need a minute to share on my platforms as well. Please call your friends to join this conversation. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. My name is Eno Vwaire, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, and we are on We Table It platform, discussing about inspiring topics that in the bid to see a change, a positive change in our communities. And with me on this platform is my co-host, Dr. Osaro Aigogun. You're all welcome, and thank you for joining us. So the term ethnic cleansing emerged in the context of conflicts and escalation movements that occurred during the 20th century, particularly in the aftermath of World War II and during the breakup of Yugoslavia in the 1990s. Now, so it's not like we did not have ethnicities having wars or having, disagreements, contentions, whatever they have. It went back to the barbaric age where they really fought with their life over some very minute or minor issues. But in the context of the ethnic cleansing we are discussing today, the name was actually, coined during the that's after the World War II and during the breakup of Yugoslavia in the 1990s. So I'll go ahead. So while forced population movements and persecution based on ethnicity or nationality have occurred throughout history, the concept of ethnic cleansing as a distinct phenomenon gained its prominence during these and recent conflicts. All right. So that term, ethnic cleansing, it gained prominence during during the aftermath of the World War II. All right. So I will go ahead to give us some key historical context of ethnic cleansing. The World War II and the Holocaust, the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime, along with millions of other victims, including Romani people, disabled individuals, and other targeted by the Nazis, represents one of the most infamous examples of ethnic cleansing in history. The Holocaust highlighted the extreme consequences of ethnic and racial persecution. Let us not lose focus. Let's not lose our grip on the context of this conversation. We are talking about ethnic cleansing as it relates to mineral resource, whatever can be exploited. And we go ahead to talk about whether this is just as it is, this conflicts, this disagreements are just as it is, or whether there is an undertone, an underplay by some economic people who are wanting to reap ethnicities of their mineral resources and, sponsoring mayhem without these people understanding what it is, exploiting their conflicts, their disagreements. When there is chaos, the enemy comes in, to exploit the situation. All right, so we are trying to look at it from this perspective now. So we're talking about some key historical context of ethnic cleansing. We talked about the World War II and the Holocaust. Okay, so we talk about the World War II population transfers. Following World War II, significant population transfers and forced migration occurred in various regions in Europe, particularly Eastern Europe. These movements were often based on ethnic or national identities. As borders were redrawn and ethnic minorities were forcibly relocated or expelled from their ancestral lands. All right, so we're talking about the Balkan Wars and breakup of Yugoslavia. We said that the phenomenon, that name was coined during or at the aftermath of the World War II and during the breakup of Yugoslavia from the USSR. So, in the 1990s, the breakup of the Yugoslavia led to a series of conflicts characterized by ethnic violence, mass displacement, and systematic targeting of civilians based on ethnicity. The term ethnic cleansing gained widespread use during the period to describe the deliberate expulsion or extermination of ethnic groups, particularly in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, and Kosovo. So before I go ahead, I want to talk about the Rwandan genocide. I want us to really understand what this term ethnic cleansing means. We had it up a while ago. I would like to share this so we see the slide. Ethnic cleansing is a systematic forced removal of ethnic, racial, or religious groups from a given era with the intent of making a region ethnically homogeneous, along with direct removal such as deportation or population transfer. It is also, I beg your pardon, it also includes indirect methods aimed at forced migration by coercing the victim group to flee and preventing its return, such as murder, rape, and property destructions. So I got this definition from Wikipedia. So I just wanted you to understand what we are talking about, because I know some of you are thinking, what is this thing we're talking about? This is what ethnic cleansing is, forcing people out of their homeland. I just want to put it in very simple grammar for you to understand. Forcing people out of their homelands, okay, and using aggression, using bloodshed, using whatever it is to send people out of their homeland and preventing them from coming back to their source. All right, so we'll talk about Rwandan genocide. The genocide in Rwanda in 1994, in which an estimated 800,000 Tutsi and moderate Hutu were killed by Hutu extremists, represents another tragic example of ethnic cleansing. We heard all that, we saw that happen. It was very, very, very painful, and we know the country cannot, just forget about that. A lot of families were destroyed. A lot of there's so much trauma in the minds of so many people. Our heart goes out to everyone who is still nursing the pains of the Holocaust, wherever they are in the Holocaust, the genocide, wherever they are in the world. So, yeah, the genocide was fueled by ethnic tensions and long-standing grievances between Hutu and Tutsi ethnic groups. Okay, so what we're discussing today is whether these grievances are just normal grievances. Are they being fueled by external forces? Are they being engineered subtly on the ground by economic players for selfish gains, for exploitation of their mineral resources, or whatever? We hear a lot of things going on, and we have heard a lot of issues in other parts of even Africa, allegedly in Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, where they are rich in diamonds, in other mineral resources, and they are having militia trying to defend the area where their resources are being exploited. So yes, these things go on. Sometimes these economic players would use religious people, they come up with a story against those who are the owners of the land. And, they make them look, they demonize them, that's the word, demonize them, and make ones who are come against them, I beg your pardon, driving them from their ancestral land. Those ones that are used as a pawn actually are not aware of the mindset of those behind all this chaos, those who sponsor this chaos, providing ammunitions, whatever it is, to cause the fight, the unrest. They just carry it out. They're just pawns and economic players. We'll go ahead to talk about other conflicts and atrocities. Ethnic cleansing has occurred in various other conflicts around the world, including Cambodia, Sudan, Myanmar, former Burma, and more recently in regions like Syria and Iraq. These conflicts have involved forced displacements, mass killings, and other forms of violence targeting specific ethnic or religious people. Overall, the historical context of ethnic cleansing underscores the destructive impact of intolerance, discrimination, and identity-based violence, and highlights the ongoing importance of efforts to prevent and address ethnic conflicts and human rights issues. So I'm going to be talking right now about the forms and methods of ethnic cleansing. We need to understand how these things happen in our society, how ethnic cleansing has its way. This thing can just be a child's play, and it is really happening at your background or at your backyard. So you need to understand how this thing starts and how these things go on. So one of the forms of ethnic cleansing is forced displacement by mass expulsion or population transfer. Now, the second is violence and coercion by mass killing and sexual abuse. No one wants to stay in a place where there is, where the society is volatile. Anything can happen. We have this situation even in the middle belting area of Nigeria, where it's quite volatile. They have unrest. The headsmen, the Fulani headsmen, and the local farmers, and allegedly is said to have some religious undertone, whatever it is. But these things happen at our backgrounds, and when this unrest comes, people are forced out of their communities. No father wants to see their wives or their daughters raped or abused, so they take them out. And we'll go ahead to talk about the effects of this forced expulsion out of their communities. So now the form is destruction of properties and religious sites. When what is at the heart of any ethnic people or any individual is their faith. So when the work comes in form of destroying their religious sites, their mosque or their churches or their shrines, wherever it is, of course it's going to cause unrest, and everybody will react to that. And the stronger one definitely will dispel those that are not strong to defend themselves. Now, so legal and administrative measures through citizenship denial and discriminatory laws and policies. So this is one of the forms of ethnic cleansing. There are countries where some minorities are experiencing that. The majority is saying you are not a part of us, and depriving them of their citizenry rights, and creating or bringing up policies that do not favor this minority, thereby making them forcibly or maybe willingly leave their ancestral homeland. Propaganda and dehumanization using hate speech, stereotypes, and demonization. You know what it is like when they say this set of people, we have that, this, what people say about this group of persons. We have that a lot around us, to say, this certain ethnicity, they are known for this, they are not people. And because of that, it breeds hatred in the hearts of those that are living with this set of people. And before you know it, there is ethnic violence, or sorry, clashes, and then violence takes place, and those who are minority will have to leave their own homelands. So we're talking about methods and forms of ethnic cleansing. All right, so we'll go ahead to talk about, once again, as you come in, please help us share this video, help us share on your Facebook pages. All right, sorry about that technical. I'm having network issues. All right, I'm back. I'm sorry about that little network issue, but I'm back. We are on and continuing with our topic for today. Ethnic cleansing is a case of religious extremism or a case of mineral resources exploitation by some syndicates or economic players. What ways does religious conflicts and economic interest contribute to ethnic cleansing? We're going to look at this shortly. Please don't forget to invite your friends to join us. We are onto a very interesting one, and we're going to have a lot to take back home from this. Hopefully, it is going to change your view of how these things grow. All right. So, what ways does religious conflicts and economic interest contribute to ethnic cleansing? We have historical grievance, divisive ideologies. We have this play out in the Hindus and Islam in India at Kashmir. Okay, we had this play out with the Sunni and Shia Muslims in Iraq and Pakistan. Having different ideologies about their faith, and this one saying the other is inferior to their ideology and wanting to, you know, out the other party. So resource competition, land acquisition, and we had that play out in the displacement of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar by the government allegedly for land grabbing to exploit mineral resources. I don't know. This is what allegedly was spoken about, that case of the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. So now we are looking forward to the intersection of religious and economic factors behind the ethnic cleansing we are talking about today. Exploiting religious divides for economic gain, economic actors may exploit existing religious tensions. All right, like what we talked about, the Sunni and the Shia Muslims having their differences, and then some players may just come out from nowhere and take advantage of that. Or where you have the Muslims or the Christians, or maybe the Hindus or the Christians, whatever it is, disagreeing, whose faith is better. When we do not learn to accommodate the next person's faith, we end up being played by a bigger enemy. All right. No one is important than the other. We should respect each other. That is the message on We Table It today. Respect each other's faith, respect the next person's belief. As long as you can turn your face away from it, let love lead. All right, let love lead. So when you have this mindset, the economic actors would not be able to play you. There'll be peace. So there's nothing they want to capitalize on, to exploit you. All right. So sometimes we think that we are the bigger person. We can actually handle the minorities coming in. But trust me, every party in any ethnic clash, any ethnic unrest, all parties involved will bear losses. All right. So we go ahead to look at the case of, intersection of religious and economic factors in Nigeria, the conflict between Christian farmers and Muslim herders in the Middle Belt region has been fueled by economic factors such as competition over land and resources, as well as political manipulation by elites seeking to maintain power and control. All right, so the word elite, the enemy could be internal, the enemy could be external. Let's be mindful of the enemies capitalizing on our disagreements, conflicts to do even greater harm. So at this point, I would like to have the doctor come in to say one or two things about the root causes of ethnic cleansing from his own point of view. Um, yeah, the root causes of ethnic cleansing. Do you have anything to say about this, doctor? You're welcome to make a contribution.
Am I audible?
Very audible. Thank you for joining.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for such a brilliant exposition
Yes,
on this
very
topic
audible.
and all. Yeah. And I put up a comment there, which states, in our contemporary world, cultural, linguistic, and religious diversity underscores the need for adequate measures to address conflicts and preserve identity. And I put up this comment because of the different factors that you identified to be responsible for ethnic cleansing. You know what? As humans, every every human, excuse me, all right. I'm so sorry that I think I had a problem with my audio, and the chief host Enor is not here. But I just want to say some things that when we talk about the overall issue of ethnic cleansing, I'm not an expert in that. However, what I know is that it causes some form of displacement, and this displacement is motivated by a lot of factors that you've all heard and or discuss about. Now, people would always desire something nice, and when they desire something nice, it may be in terms of the land, or it may be in terms of maybe mineral resources or whatever. But it is just like the ants attracted to sugar. And this is the world we live in. So they find
Yeah.
something good in the land, and they find a way to leverage on that. And many ways have been in history, a way to distort history and tell that this is our land, or a way to forcefully grab it in such a way that a superior power exerts itself on an inferior power and take what ordinarily belongs to those who we term as inferior power. And a lot of the examples, even from history. So it will always happen. However, primary factors that have been implicated in this behavior, in this phenomena, include cultural differences. language differences, religious differences, which are buried in the fertile soil of intolerance. And that has been a bane in our
Yeah.
human coexistence up until now. Until the world, I mean, what is it about ethnic cleansing? It means displacing, right? And harming people in many instances to take what rightfully
Yes.
shouldn't be taken. So it means that the world still gravitates and needs cultural, linguistic, and religious cohesion for us to be able to defeat this phenomena of ethnic cleansing. Once we see ourselves as one, once we see ourselves as a plural society that should leverage on our diversity to foster unity, then we will gradually do away with ethnic cleansing. If we haven't reached that position, then we might see more episodes of it. So, in whatever has happened, just like what the chief host has said, uh, we should learn from the past. And sometimes we cannot run away from the fact that to achieve peace, sometimes we have to fight for it. And numerous examples are there. In Rwanda, they fought for the
True
peace
that.
that they are achieving today. And in Sudan, it was fought for.
Enjoying now.
However,
Yeah.
it takes, it was fought for. So, but when that happens, a lot of bloodshed that we don't need to happen, but they happen, and that is the reality of life. In a summary, what I'm trying to contribute here is that the world should gravitate every day towards accepting our differences and seeing ourselves as singular inhabitant of a land that we should protect and not fight. All right. So I mean, just from my
Yeah.
lay knowledge on this field, this is my humble submission for more cohesion and peaceful living in our world today, to be able to thrive better in our plural world as one. Yeah, thank you for this
Thank you
opportunity.
very much for your contribution. I agree with you. I quite agree with you on that. Yes. Am I audible? Am I
Absolutely,
audible?
yes. You're very audible. Yeah, you are. And yeah, you're audible.
All right. Thank you very much for that feedback. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you on that. Very salient points you gave there. Yeah, they will capitalize on our unrest, on our differences. Those that are big players will take advantage of that internal crisis to work against us, exploiting us of our resources. So we should be mindful of that. Thank you, Dr. Osaro, for that input. We'll go ahead to examine the human cost of ethnic cleansing. All right. What has this phenomenon, what has this situation robbed us of? What has it contributed negatively or impacted negatively, I beg your pardon, to our communities? What has this robbed us of? We need to consider that now. uh, Definitely loss of lives, displacement of people, and you know what that causes: loss of identity, destruction of communities. All right, so this is the key loss here. I would say human capital, because the strength of your economy, the top on the top most part of it is the human capital. When people emigrate from their homeland, you are losing human capital. All right, so that is the strength of any economy. Displacement of community disrupts social structures, cultural traditions, and economic livelihood, leading to profound social and economic upheaval. Internally displaced and emigration breeds refugees. Imagine being a refugee in your own country sometimes. or even in the neighboring country. It is not funny. We do not want to see this. Both the ones who are refugees and both the ones who will cater for them would be at loss. So it's affecting everyone involved. All right. So these are the things that ethnic cleansing would cause, or when we do not check ourselves with conflict, when we do not handle conflict. Um, I don't want to use the word productively because yeah, you can actually be productive, handling conflict because a lot of things comes out from conflict resolution positively. Yes, so when we do not manage the conflicts properly, what happens is we end up, having a lot of capital, human capital losses in your economy, the loss of lives, and a lot of things go with that. All right, so thank you for joining, every one of you. We will soon be concluding on this topic on ethnic cleansing, whether it's a case of religious extremism or it's a case of mineral resource thefts, permit me to use that word, syndication, where you have economic players taking advantage of the people who are having internal conflict. So I'll go ahead to talk about the potential solution to address ethnic cleansing. The doctor, I hope you are there. I'll call you shortly to talk about what you would think is a solution to address, existing ethnic conflicts. We've had them in places like right now, Sudan is hot in Sudan. We're having it hot in some parts of Democratic Republic of Congo. So you would prefer some solutions to this ethnic cleansing. So from my end, I would look at diplomatic efforts, international mediation, engage neutral third-party mediators and international organizations to facilitate dialogue and negotiation between conflicting parties. Diplomatic pressure. Use diplomatic channels, sanctions, and international condemnation to exert pressure on government and non-state actors perpetrating ethnic cleansing. Okay, so the conflict resolution mechanism, their peace building initiative, support community-led reconciliation efforts, dialogue forums, and peace building programs to address underlying grievances and promote inter-ethnic reconciliation. You have conflict resolution and mechanisms, helps to establish and strengthen local and regional mechanisms for conflict resolution, mediation, and dispute resolution to prevent escalation of violence. Now, we need to address the problem right from the roots of it. These things happen because we're talking about ethnic cleansing in relation to people being exploited because of the conflicts they are having. So yes, when we settle this conflict, the enemies can't come in to take advantage of us. All right. So this is it. There are forums we can, create or that are existing to mediate between ethnicities who are having some issues. All right. So humanitarian assistance in the place of internally displaced persons or even refugees in other places. We have people who some of the NGOs, some societies, organizations who are all out to provide, humanitarian support for those who have been affected by this ethnic, what they call it, the clashes in the society. All right, so provide humanitarian aid, deliver emergency relief, including water, food, shelter, medical care, and psychological support to displaced population. We are having right now in Palestine, we're having these issues, and we can see the international community trying to provide for those who are affected by the war. All right, so you have to protect the vulnerable population, because if they are not protected, these people are crying that they are wanting to, make them go, extinct. extinct, wanting to make them lose their homeland, wanting to make them have issues of loss of identity. You see them spread all over the world, and they do not have a place to go back, a place to call home, because their homelands have been ravaged by violence. All right, so you can address these ethnic cleansing situations with legal and accountability measures. Okay, prosecute perpetrators. We need to identify who are the economic actors, who are those people behind any ethnic conflict, who are the people fueling, providing ammunition, providing aid to people who are causing unrest in the communities. So hold individuals and entities responsible for perpetrating ethnic cleansing accountable through domestic or international legal mechanisms, including national courts, international criminal tribunals, or the International Criminal Court. Okay, so truth and reconciliation commissions, establish truth and reconciliation commissions or similar mechanisms to investigate human rights abuses, document atrocities, and promote healing and accountability. We need to hear from you what you're thinking about this topic. We need you to share your thoughts. I want to read comments in a bit. I will quickly go to 5 preventive measures, early warning systems, develop and strengthen early warning systems and mechanisms for monitoring and reporting on signs of ethnic tensions, discriminations, or violence to enable timely prevention or preventive action. I beg your pardon. Address root causes, address underlying factors contributing to ethnic tensions and conflicts, including poverty, inequality, marginalizations, and exclusions through inclusive governance, economic development, and social justice reforms. I keep saying that you can only take advantage of people who are poor. If you look at the case of what is going on in the north, the state of Kaduna in Nigeria is experiencing the same situation of terror, where we have people who are religious extremists come in and displace people of their lands, and forcing them to leave their homelands. All right, so the people who can be used by these economic players or actors are people who are in need, people who are, how would I put it, below the poverty line. So these are the people that can be manipulated or used by people to exploit other persons. All right, so community engagement and empowerment, empower local communities, support community-based initiatives, civil society organizations, and grassroots movements working to promote interethnic dialogue, tolerance, and social cohesion, encourage interethnic cooperation, foster partnership and collaboration between different ethnic and religious groups through joint community projects, cultural exchanges, and interfaith dialogue. All right. So at this point, Dr. Osaro, please, can you quickly come in and tell us what you think should be used to address the situation like what we have right now in Israel-Palestinian war? What do you think can be used to address this situation or mediate between, what do you suggest, I beg your pardon, to mediate between the parties involved in this war? All right, so at the point now, I do not have the doctor on this call. We will be rounding up shortly, I think in the next 8 minutes or so, or just before he comes back. We'll quickly look at preventive measures to mitigate the risk of future incidents of ethnic cleansing. We do not want to see what is happening or what has happened in Rwanda. We don't want to ever see it repeat itself in any parts of Africa or the world at large. We don't want to see what is going on right now in Palestine. We don't want to see this going on in the world. We want to see how to prevent these things from reoccurring, so we can look at promoting inclusive governance. That is number one. For those of you who are stakeholders, now you are lawmakers, you should know that every member of your country, your county, wherever you're managing, are very important. The minorities, the majority, everyone is important. So for them not to feel cheated, you need to have an inclusive governance that ensures everyone is represented, everyone has their rights and are represented, I beg your pardon. So including their religious representative are there, are carried along. Everyone is well represented. Foster political participation and representation for marginalized communities, including ethnic minorities, through electoral reforms, affirmative action policies, and decentralized decision-making process. I would want to make a recommendation for a case like Nigeria. We want to see someone from the East becoming the president of this country. It has to be all inclusive so that you can quell the anger, you can quell the restiveness of the people in the eastern region of Nigeria, because we have a situation that had happened in the past, in the 1960s to the 1970s, and the minority were affected. It was alleged that it was because of the resource they had in the land that the external players were interested in. So for us to prevent these things from happening, we need to have an inclusive governance, okay? Strengthen the rule of law and human rights, address socio-economic inequality, promote interethnic dialogue and reconciliation, strengthen early warning and response system, build resilient communities, foster international cooperation. All right, so in conclusion, we would just talk about what we've been saying from the beginning of this topic till now. We've talked about ethnic cleansing. Is it a case of religious extremism, or is it a case of mineral resources exploitation, syndication? Like we said, let love lead. We should have a community that is tolerable, that is religious tolerant, that is cultural tolerance. We have countries with different ethnicities doing well, different religion all in one doing well. When we realize that when we stay together, we are stronger together, that is when the enemies cannot come and take advantage of us and rip us of what we have as a people. So this is that. Thanks for your engagement on this. I would have loved the doctor to say one or two things, but as it stands, he's not on the call at the moment, so I'll just go on and conclude this topic today. It was nice having you on. Thank you for joining this topic, and please let love lead. Try to share as much love in your community and avoid anything that will cause unrest. We recommend to those who are stakeholders, who are lawmakers of the countries, to have an inclusive government that is catering for the needs of everyone, both the minority or the majority, having everyone well represented. We would encourage you as well, those of you watching this program right now, to go ahead, follow us on our pages on Facebook. We table it on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. We want to see you go. We have some videos in the past from me, Eno Vwaire, and my co-host, Dr. Saro and Valerie Siganga. It was nice having you on with us today. Thank you for sharing the post. Thank you for following. We appreciate your continuous engagement with us on this platform. It's been nice having you, like I said, and thank you. We look forward to seeing you next week, Saturday, on this platform. And it's me, your amiable host, Eno Vwaire. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.